I know I just did a video about this product, but the Novus Polish is some great stuff. So I decided I'd make a secondary one actually showing in real time me laying this out. The only part of the video I sped up was this part here where I am just masking off a square of an already scratched up surface. And now I'm just going to go through the process. And again, this is real time using a lint-free rag. Shake your bottles. It doesn't take much. And when you're applying it, you want to use mild pressure. You don't need to, press down real hard. Mild pressure. And you're just gonna, small circular motions, get it in there. And when it starts to haze up a little bit, and you'll know if you've ever waxed a car or anything like that, once you see it start to haze, you will come back and with a clean spot of the rag, you'll just basically buff it off or polish it off. And there's 3 steps. The first step takes a little bit longer than the second step and first step, but because you're using the number 3, it's for the deep scratches. So you can see I'm really working it in. Again, small circular motions, get it worked in. And you can start to see it hazing. So work just a little bit more. And then I'm going to take that rag, I'm going to flip it over or find the dry spot and come back and I'm going to buff it off. Buffing it off doesn't take quite as long as polishing it in or rubbing it in, but there we go. We get that taken care of. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come in with number 2. Again, we're going to shake the bottle, apply just a little bit, and I'm actually going to use the same lint-free cloth I had before. I'm just going to find a different corner. Small circular motions. You just want it random. And yes, if you have some form of a random orbital polisher, you are more than welcome to use that. You just have to be careful because you don't want to get the surface too hot, because then that can cause like permanent hazing or hairline cracks, and just heat and plastics. You have to be very careful. And here, same thing. Found a dry spot. Now I'm polishing it off. And for the final part, this is number 1. Shake it up a little bit. Just a little spritz. Doesn't take much of this. Just one little spritz. And this stuff you want to polish on and polish back off pretty quick. It tells you on the instructions you don't want this to really haze over too much. So I get it on there to the point of it's no longer wet, and then you see I just flipped it over and now I'm just polishing it back off. And that's it. And now I'm going to pull the tape off so we can see the contrast between the original surface and the new polished surface. And yes, there are still some very fine scratches, and if you stare at it and at different lights and angles, you're going to see stuff. I will be putting a secondary video together at some point where I show you a longer process where you're actually going to be wet sanding the surface prior to doing this. But I hope that helps. Enjoy.